Just in the beginning of February, 70 Christians have been killed in Congo. 70 Christians were beheaded for their belief in Jesus Christ, and this is probably the first time you're going to be hearing it. For some reason, the mainstream media never covers the news when it comes to Christian persecution and Christian martyrdom around the world. But if it's some LGBTQ person going into the wrong bathroom and a conservative beats them up, it's going to be nationwide and countrywide coverage. If a gay or lesbian gets thrown off of a building in Iraq or something, it's going to make global news, and rightfully so. Nobody should be getting killed this way. That's not the point that I'm making. But when it's Christians being killed and beheaded inside of a church because of their beliefs, and it doesn't make, nighttime prime news, it doesn't go on TV. Not all the politicians are talking about it and saying how we have to denounce Islamophobia and we have to rally around these groups of oppressed minority people in these countries. No, it doesn't happen like that because the world and the news media, for whatever reason, is very biased about these things. They cover the news very selectively, right? You can cover the news in a selective way to the point that you amplify stories that don't happen that often, and then you can degrade stories that are happening all the time all over the world and just not talk about it, and then everybody at home will imagine in their head that everything's all right in the world, but it isn't. And why did these Muslims in Congo go around gathering Christians, having them carry their loot around for them, bringing them to a church, torturing them, and then beheading them one by one? What caused them to have these beliefs? Are they just radical Muslims that don't know how to read the Quran like their prophet? Or is it because something inside of their Quran actually tells them and gives them authority to do these things? In Surah 9:29, it reads, "Fight those who do not believe in Allah or in the last day." I wonder how these Muslims in Congo were taking that advice. Scared months have passed, then kill the polytheists wherever you find them and capture them and besiege them and sit and wait for them at every place of ambush. You can see right here, kill the polytheists wherever you find them, capture them, besiege them, sit and wait for them in every place of ambush. Quran 9:5. This is their prescription where they're getting these views from, right? The people responsible for this was the ADF in Congo. They're a group that's tied with ISIS and Al-Qaeda and all those Muslim Brotherhood that always go around killing people and cutting off people's heads for some odd reason. These Muslims keep doing this. And yes, I know what you're going to say. Christians can do bad things, but at least they're not getting it from the Bible itself. The same way a Muslim is reading the Quran and seeing the life of Muhammad and what he did to non-believers. And let's even play a clip of a Muslim saying what they believe.
Reason why you have to fight them is because they are Jews and Christians. You should fight those empires around you or those hukumat around you which are Jew or Christian until they give the jizya. That's fine. That we already know Islam allows.
Yep. And the party's leader is Jabir Mukundu. And he was Catholic and then he converted to Islam, and look at the fruits that are coming from him now in Congo. Murdering and killing his fellow Africans that are Christian, but because of the ideology. I'm not saying all Muslims are bad. Majority of Muslims that I know are all great people that do not follow the Quran, that do not really try to live up to the lifestyle of Muhammad, because if they did, they'd be going around like a warlord, killing everybody, making them pay jizya, humiliation tax for not being Muslim, and getting everybody to convert. I'll put up a graph and a map showing the places in the world where Christians get persecuted the most. And look at this graph. This graph is showing us where the most terrorist attacks occur in the world. So you don't have to be a genius to understand that anywhere Islam grows and the population of Muslim grows and swells, eventually terrorism will come there for whatever reason if you don't believe the things that I'm saying. Muslims growing in a place, it becomes radical. They start performing Sharia law, and that's what they want. They want to live under Sharia, and Sharia says if you're a gay or homosexual, we're throwing you off of a building. If you want to leave Islam, what happens? You get killed. If you want to leave Christianity, nobody gets killed. Honor killing is not a thing in Christianity. Why does Islam get a pass from the media when they're doing all these things in Congo, murdering 70 Christians for what reason except being Christian? And why isn't the world outraged? Well, Jesus said himself in the Bible that you will be persecuted for my sake. And obviously there are Christians in the world that are doing evil things, or at least people that claim to be Christians that are doing evil things, and they deserve the bad that comes to them for doing those evil things. But for purely just being Christian and just wanting to live in your own belief system, you will be persecuted by Boko Haram, by ISIS, by the ADF, all these people, all these groups that are all Muslim and all have the same ideology, that are all separated by oceans and seas and mountains and thousands of kilometers, but for some reason they all get the same idea, like they have a radio antenna in their head that somehow connects to, we need to murder Christians for whatever reason. But what's the other side of the coin? Where Christianity goes, does oppression happen more? Are people like less literate? What are the results that happen when Christianity spreads through a society, through a culture, through a country? Well, everybody knows, because everybody wants to move to those countries that are all founded with Christian ethics, with Christian foundations that are at the bottom and the root of it, that all men are created equal, right? Where did this ideas come from? Is it in the Quran? Because Kafirs aren't made in the image of God, right? Kafirs aren't equal, right? If you're a Jew and a Christian and a polytheist, you're a lot lower than a Muslim. But Jesus tells us to love our enemies, right? To pray for those who persecute us, to give up our cloak and even our shirt, right? So people that have different ideologies will have different outcomes, and you can see it on a societal basis. Do you want to go move to Afghanistan, right? Do you want to go move to a Muslim majority country where they're practicing Sharia law and they're doing these things? Or do you want to move to Canada, London, America, right? All these Eastern European countries that are all Christian, at least the roots of them are. They're losing their Christianity and they're becoming atheists, but we know what Richard Dawkins said, right? We don't want to live in a Muslim majority country. I kind of like Christmas, right? I'm a cultural Christian. Why? Because everybody can see the writing on the wall. But for some reason, the news media and the global order hates to put up Christian persecution. It's almost like Christianity is the oppressor, it's the colonizer, it's the evil thing, and we want it to be destroyed, and we want to put up all these other mixed DEI, ethnicity, blah, 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 but Christianity is so diverse, right? Look at Africa, Christian, India, China. Christians aren't a specific color, so please, if you like this message, if you haven't heard this news before about all these Christians dying in Africa in the past week, 70 Christians, right? Beheaded in a church, then share this stuff and try to get this news out there, because our news media is not showing us the things that really matter. Thank you.